I'm not sure that you can see this. Hopefully you can. There was a tear in this boot that went back along here. So this was loose. This is the boot for my turbo for the 7.3. So it's an important piece. I was gonna just replace this part of the boot because this is a separate piece. This piece. It turns out that this section of year, which is 99 to 2003, this isn't made anymore. There don't seem to be any aftermarket ones. I've tried, I've looked and looked and looked. What I have found is I can get this whole thing and these for like $400. That's not in my budget. So what I did was take some oil-resistant silicone, coat the outside of this, and then I put this piece. This is just inner tube from a from a moped that I replaced the inner tubes in, and then I did it wrong and put holes in the new one, so then I got to do it twice. So I put this on there. I put a nice coat. I tried to keep all of the gasket maker on the outside of this because I don't want any of this stuff to go inside, going that way, into the turbo, right? I want to keep this as clean as possible. So I put the gasket maker on the outside of it, and then I took a piece of this inner tube from a moped and I sliced it down and put it inside here. And this is holding up pretty good, but I really want to make sure that it holds exceptionally well. So I have a second piece of this inner tube, and I've washed it and scrubbed it a couple times to get all that inner powder stuff off, and I thought I had accomplished it. It doesn't quite look like it, so I might wash it again. Anyway, so this is wider piece, and I'm going to put it, I'm going to do the gasket maker again, nice big gob of it, and then put this around it again. And I can, now that this is pretty stable, I can pull this kind of tight. So I'm going to pull it tight so it snugs up against this outer ring. You can see there's an inner and outer ring, and this is just to hold this thingy in place, right? But that will give me the ability to pull this kind of tight and use the gasket maker to help seal up so that I have a nice airtight seal, and then this goes on over that to keep it in place. So I'm going to let this finish drying and do the next step. And the only reason I'm doing this video is because I searched YouTube to find what I needed to know about fixing this, and I only found a couple videos where they kind of sort of almost addressed this, but there were a whole lot of other videos where people said they were having problems with this piece falling apart and they can't get the replacement unless they go the $400 route, which is ridiculous. I'm sorry, it just is. On my budget, it's ridiculous. So hopefully this helps some other people too. I want all the air that goes into the turbo to just come through the air cleaner and not from outside of this where this crack was or this split was. So I think that will work. So I'm going to put my gloves on, do this part of it. So it will end up being just about like that. So I'm going to cut it right there. I'm mostly putting it up against this back edge because that's where I want to seal up the air. So I'm also making sure I get it along the edge of this other piece of rubber so that that helps seal up the air. That's really just added stability, and then also make sure I've got good the airflow the way it needs to be, where it needs to be. I need a little bit more right here. And then I'm also going to let this dry for a couple days. Gasket sealer says 24 hours, but I would like to give it more time to really seal off. Okay, now my solid spot is right here. So I'm going to start it here, bring it around. I don't want it to overlap this edge because this edge needs to fit up against the turbo. Okay. I'm making a mess. I am making a mess. Okay. Get this out of the way. Yeah, I probably should have done this a different way, like take this completely apart and then do it, which I think is what I'm going to do. That way I can put it on there without it moving stuff around. Alright, let me start the process over while I make big messes on my fingers. Put it right on that edge and then just tight enough, right like that. And I could actually, while I'm doing this, I could overlap it because I can always come back with a knife and trim the edges if it sticks out too far. That's probably a smart thing to do, huh? Okay, it's on there pretty much where I want it to be. So now I think I will overlap it a little bit and just trim it with a knife. That's easy enough to do. So, new consideration. Okay, I'm going to trim it with a knife. And you can see this is pulling, so I do know I've got some snug to it. This started. Okay. I don't want to pull it too tight, just tight enough for that to meet. And the edge of my external rubber layer is where it needs to be. I could go get another band and put it over here, which I think I might do. Let me go find one. Hold on. Alright, so I got a second one and I put on here, and it's just sitting on top of that outer ridge so that it helps this inner tube rubber to seal down on where we put the gasket maker. And And it's not super tight. I mean, it's got some give right here. I don't want to crush this in because of that fix. I want to make sure that I'm not putting too much stress on that. You know, once everything's done and it's had plenty of time to dry, when I do put it back over the turbo, then I can cinch this in, because the turbo, the metal of the turbo is going to hold that in place. So keep your fingers crossed for me. Hopefully this works, and hopefully this gives other people an idea of what they can do instead of spending $400 or risking having a piece go into their turbo and do all that damage. Well, it went together really well. I'm trying to figure out how to hold the light and talk. Not working too well. Anyway, so my rubber and gasket maker fix, actually it pulled together real well. You can see there's a little tiny bit of a gap right there where it kind of stretched back, but it gave it a really good solid backing. I would say base, but it's behind the actual rubber piece. But it helped give it some stability, I guess. And I think it will be okay until I can find another used one that's in good shape somewhere.